New government-backed fixed-rate loans have seen explosive popularity, but critics are raising concerns about snowballing household debt. A road construction accident in Gyeonggi Province left one worker dead and several others injured as a structure collapsed, trapping the men inside. And South Korea's per capita income surpassed $28,000 last year, but many people aren't feeling the benefits. We find out why. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Thursday, March 26th. I'm Luke Clary. With 3 days left before the Civil Service Pension Reform Committee wraps up its activities, the opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy has laid out its own plan. Here's more on the pension reform schemes that have been proposed so far.
The average monthly wage of low-ranking public servants who have served for 30 years is around $2,700. Each of them pays about $190 in monthly pension contributions. After retirement, they will receive a monthly pension of roughly $1,550. The ruling party has proposed that public servants pay around $272 a month in pension contributions and receive about $1,250 a month after retirement. In other words, they will pay more but receive less. The ruling party's plan is similar to that of the government. By contrast, the main opposition party has proposed a relatively generous solution. Public servants will pay around $190 to $245 in monthly pension contributions and receive $1,390 to $1,550 after retirement. This is the reason the ruling party is also calling for realistic retirement allowances in order to compensate public servants' incomes. Both parties agree that without a pension reform, the government's financial burden will grow out of proportion. If the pension law remains unchanged, the government would have to inject an additional $19 billion a year by 2030. By 2080, the accumulated cost would reach $1.8 trillion. The Pension Reform Committee will soon announce the impact of each of the proposed four schemes on the lives of public officials and their cost-saving effects.
Financial authorities are considering making new government-backed fixed-rate loans available at non-banking institutions in consideration of the program's explosive popularity. However, some observers are raising concerns about snowballing household debt. Here's more.
Long lines have formed at banks for the second straight day. The monthly limit set for a new government-backed long-term fixed-rate loan plan was exhausted on the first day of its launch. Half of the limit for this year was taken out by the end of the second day. Many people issued complaints over their ineligibility for the new loans.
아파트는 재산이고 농지는 재산 아니에요? 정부도 너무해.
The government is considering making the new loan scheme available at non-banking financial institutions, like community credit cooperatives, as the exclusion puts some people at a disadvantage. The ratio of debt to disposable income has hit a record high of 138%. It indicates that South Korean households have, on average, debt 38% greater than the money they can spend in a year. Household debt is snowballing. Some critics say that the new government-backed fixed-rate loan program is not sufficient to resolve the growing household debt issue fundamentally, even if it is expanded to non-banking financial institutions.
An accident at a road construction site in Gyeonggi Province left one construction worker killed and several others injured. It's believed that the accident occurred when one of the structures collapsed under the weight of concrete.
An excavator digs through a pile of construction materials and pieces of concrete under the collapsed bridge deck. Rescue efforts continued through the night with hopes of finding the workers still buried in the rubble. The accident occurred at 5:20 p.m. on Wednesday at the construction site of a 27-meter-long bridge. The structure collapsed in the middle when about 1,000 cubic meters of concrete were being poured into the mold of the bridge deck. The steel structure presumably collapsed under the weight of the concrete.
교각 상판을 받쳐두는 그 지지대입니다. 그 지지대가 붕괴되면서 그 상판 위에서 작업 중이던 일부 인부들이 추락한 사고로서
7 of the 16 workers who were at the edge of the construction site were able to escape. The remaining 9 workers fell about 10 meters down. The emergency crew rescued most of the buried workers, but one 68-year-old was found dead. The police plan to summon the construction site officials to find out if safety regulations were kept and apply criminal charges if any violations are found.
South Korea's per capita gross national income surpassed $28,000 last year, but many people don't feel this statistic in their everyday lives. Today, we investigate why the growth in gross national income does not create palpable changes in people's lives.
Hyun Soo-won is the head of a single-income family with 2 children. News that South Korea's per capita income is approaching $30,000 feels far from tangible.
말이 안 되죠. 지금 매일 적자인데 늘어나는 건 마이너스 통장이고.
South Korea's gross national income per capita exceeded $28,000 last year, a growth of more than 7% year on year. Despite the increased national income, the quality of life has not improved because of a rise in non-consumption expenditures, or money that must be paid upon one's earnings. Household income has grown 50% in 10 years since 2004. However, non-consumption expenditure, including taxes and social insurance premiums, have surged by 235%. Moreover, household income's representation in the total gross national income fell to 62%, while the proportion of corporate income jumped to 23%.
고정적으로 나가는 지출이 크다 보니까 아무래도 삶의 질이 떨어지고 살림살이가 팍팍하게 느껴지는 것입니다.
Ordinary people's lives have not improved in line with the growth in national income, as their financial burdens have increased as well, while corporations account for a larger part of the total.
Eyelid on the Han River is known as a stopover for migratory birds, but the birds' temporary home is severely polluted with their own waste. So a massive cleanup operation took place there ahead of the spring breeding season.
Eyelid is located under the Seouls Bridge on the Han River. It's a rare example of a migratory bird's stopover in the heart of a metropolis that's home to dozens of species, including ones that are endangered, such as the white-tailed sea eagle. In recognition of its high value, in 2012, the Eyelid became the first in Seoul to be included in the list of wetlands protected by the Ramsar Convention for the conservation and sustainable use of wetlands. But now, the Eyelid is blanketed in waste that looks like piles of snow. The waste is the excrement of a migratory bird species called the cormorant. The population of cormorants on Eyelid was recorded at just 420 in 2010, but it has more than tripled in recent years, as has the amount of its excrement.
민물가마우지는 깃털을 말리거든요. 말리면서 여기서 그 분면을 본 거죠. 그러니까 배설물 상태가 이렇게 하얗게 되는 거예요.
Recently, a massive cleanup was held on the Eyelid to wash away the bird's waste. Even boats were deployed to clean the Eyelid ahead of the spring breeding season, which begins next month. The Seoul metropolitan government hopes that the cleanup will promote trees' growth and contribute to the improving breeding environment of other bird species.
Despite the harbingers of spring, the weather is still chilly in the morning and evening. People should take extra care not to come down with bronchitis during this seasonal change when the daily temperature gap is so big.
A few days ago, this 2-year-old baby began showing symptoms of a cold, including fever, phlegm, and coughing. Medication has done little to improve his condition. His coughing has gotten worse, and he has developed a wheeze in his breath.
기침이 한 번 시작하면은 멈추지 않고 좀 여러 번 하는 편이라서 아기가 괴로워하더라고요.
The child was diagnosed with acute bronchitis, an infection of the bronchial tubes that makes breathing difficult. Acute bronchitis becomes common in March and April when the daily temperature gaps are large and bouts of yellow dust and ultrafine dust become frequent. Last year, 37% of 15 million patients who saw doctors for acute bronchitis were diagnosed during this period. It is best to consult a doctor and receive an exact diagnosis if severe coughing persists long enough to cause chest pain or if breathing is difficult due to a buildup of phlegm. To prevent viral infections, the most important preventative measures include drinking plenty of water and maintaining personal hygiene through frequent hand washing.
The new school term has begun in Korea, and some elementary schools in Seoul added the homegrown martial art Taekwondo to their regular curricula. A measure met with strong protest from private Taekwondo academies operating nearby. Many schools buckled under the pressure and canceled their classes.
This is an elementary school in Seoul. It included Taekwondo class in its 3rd and 6th grade curricula for the first time this year, but had to cancel the program earlier this month. The reversal came in the wake of strong protests from the directors of private Taekwondo academies near the school, who claimed that the school's Taekwondo program would threaten their survival. The directors held protests when the children were coming to school. They also visited the principal in groups to lodge their complaints.
곳곳에서 전화가 와서 민원을 제기하고 그러니까 학교 업무가 마비될 수밖에 없었습니다. 정말 힘들었습니다.
Group petitions were sent to the district education office as well. However, the Taekwondo instructors argued that they had asked for a delay of the program, never for its cancellation. They claimed that they were concerned about the quality of the Taekwondo classes.
전문 인력들이 참여가 전혀 배제가 됐어요. 태권도 3단 자격증도 없는 그 비전문가를 이제 채용을 한다고 해가지고 제가 반대를 한 거죠.
The schools that have included Taekwondo in their curricula have caved in to the pressure of local Taekwondo instructors and gave up a formal school program voted in by the parents.
Kingsman, the Secret Service, was a surprise smash hit in Korea. The movie's cast members and production staff thanked Korean fans and said that if there ever was a sequel, they would like to film it here in Korea. This and more to come in today's Showbiz News.
British spy flick Kingsman, the Secret Service, sold more than 5.4 million tickets in Korea. Korea was the film's highest-grossing market outside of North America. Surprised by the unexpected popularity, the movie's stars and production staff thanked Korean fans for their support.
매너가 사람을 만든다.
Director Matthew Vaughn even said that he would like to shoot some segments of the film's sequel in Korea.
Think about Kingsman 2, and hopefully we'll come to Korea and shoot some of it, and if not, maybe make a Korean Kingsman.
Actress Lee Young-ae has decided to appear in a TV series 11 years after her last starring role. Group 8, the show's production company, announced that Lee will star in 사임당, the Her Story, slated to air next year. She is to play 2 roles as an art history instructor in college and the historical figure 신사임당. Actress Kim So-hyun was chosen to star in the new KBS Monday-Tuesday drama Who Are You 2015. Kim will play a teenager who transforms overnight from a bullied loser to the most popular girl in school. The first episode of Who Are You 2015 will air on April 27th.
The popularity of a particular set of triplets appearing on a KBS entertainment show lately shows no signs of abating. More and more prospective parents hope to have a set of twins or triplets of their own. And here's a look at the twin and triplet boom. Daehan, Mingguk, and Manse are the names of the most famous triplets in Korea at the moment, the children of a well-known actor. Their growing popularity has generated a twin and triplet boom in the country.
엄마랑 하게 이렇게 있으니까 더 귀엽고 재밌는 것 같아요. 쌍둥이 애들 나오는 거 보면 저도 키우고 싶고.
Our KBS crew paid a visit to a home raising twins. 13 months old, Dongbin and Dongin are just 1 minute apart.
너무나 많이 관심을 가져주셔서 요즘에 정말 쌍둥이에 대한 관심도 많고 쌍둥이 열풍이 정말 있구나 이런 생각이 들었어요.
But there's another reason behind the twin sensation.
맞벌이를 해야 될 시기가 오니까 한 명 낳고 다시 또 한 명 낳고 키운다는 게 그만큼 시간과 그만큼 투자가 길어지니까 그건 너무 부담스러울 것 같아요.
Ovulation induction or superovulation is sometimes used as a method to treat infertility. However, some women who would have no trouble getting pregnant the natural way have these shots administered to improve their chances of having twins or triplets.
그 주사는 쌍둥이를 만든 주사 절대 아니고요. 환자 상태에 따라서 배란을 유도가 필요하다고 판단됐을 때 쓸 수 있는 주사입니다.
If normal childbearing women misuse these ovulation-inducing chemicals or injections, it can be harmful.
과배란 유도에 의하여 난포가 많이 생겨 호르몬 농도가 높아져 난소 가자극 증후군이 생길 수 있습니다. 이때 복부 통증, 복부 팽만과 구토 등의 증상을 보이며 경우에 따라 생명을 위협할 수도 있습니다.
Recently, an Oriental medicine practitioner has, in fact, been referred to an ethics committee for selling herbal medicine at a steep price and claiming it helps to bear twins. So while twins and triplets can seem to multiply the blessings of childbirth, parents shouldn't rush to use drugs that are meant to treat infertility, and instead recognize the joys of having children one by one.
봄바람이 날리며 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 울려 퍼질 이 거리를 둘이 걸어요 봄바람이 날리며.
Now let's take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.